So, welcome back to Box Your Lugs. It looks like Joseph Parker is going to be fighting against Derek Chisora. Let's get into that. Derek Chisora. I like the guy. I like to watch his fights, but you have to be, you have to be serious. Derek Chisora is past it. Derek Chisora, even when he was at his best, was probably European level, I guess. Yeah, he's European level for sure. He's pretty good, I don't seriously think he might have been just knocking on the door of the top 10 at his best. But his best is behind him now, And you get Tyson Fury every now and again saying he's going to fight him again. Like, that's because he knows that he's going to win easily, and he knows that people like to watch Derek Chisora fight. So that's just honestly, I don't even know why he says that. I don't know why he wants to fight Derek Chisora for a third time. But anyway, Chisora's going to fight Parker. And let's be honest, if Derek Chisora loses this fight, do you really want to see him fight again? I don't. I think Derek Chisora needs to win this fight. The only problem with that is, I don't think that Derek Chisora can win this fight. Now, Joseph Parker, obviously former world champion, until he was beaten by Anthony Joshua. He's a much better boxer than Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora does one thing. He marches forward and swings. Did you see his fight with Usyk? I mean, Usyk, obviously, he's a lot more slick than Chisora, but Chisora was so slow. Those long looping hooks that he was throwing, just... How did he ever expect to go in with those tactics? Or let's rephrase that. How did Chisora ever expect to go in with no tactics and beat Alexander Usyk? It was never going to happen. And we already know, or are pretty certain, you can bet your house on it. Derek Chisora is going to go in with those exact same tactics, by which I mean no tactics except go forward and swing like a maniac, against Joseph Parker. And Joseph Parker is going to do exactly the same as what Usyk did to him. He's going to avoid the big bombs, he's going to wear him down, he's going to tire him out, and then he's going to take the win. It's as simple as that. I can't see it going any other way. Unless Chisora gets really lucky and lands on the chin, that's the only way. That's definitely the only way. Now, Joseph Parker, I don't know. Is he... some people still think he's like a top 5 guy. I don't know if he is. He was, I think. I would have said so a few years ago. He was definitely up there. But now, this is the thing though. If he loses now to Derek Chisora, like whoever loses, essentially, I mean, their career in the top flight of boxing is over. In my opinion, Derek Chisora is already over because he's a journeyman at best. He's become a gatekeeper. If you want to fight somebody in the top 10 or in the top 15 even, like, go through Derek Chisora. If you can't beat Derek Chisora, then you probably don't deserve to go any higher. That's the sort of level he's at. And if Joseph Parker doesn't beat Derek Chisora, then Joseph Parker essentially becomes a journeyman himself. He just becomes one of these guys. And Joseph Parker's too good for that, I think. But that's how I see it going. And how do you think it'll go? Leave your comments. So, what else is going on? Who else is fighting? I haven't got anything in front of me at the minute. But nobody interesting, I don't think. Eubank Jr. is fighting on the same card, I think. Yeah, I kind of look forward to that. I think Eubank Jr. gets a bit of a hard deal. People say he's trash. People say he's crap. He'll never amount to anything. But he's already amounted to quite a bit, hasn't he? So he's not trash. He's been in there with some good fighters, and he's held his own really. Like, yeah, he might have got beaten every time he stepped up to the sort of true elite level. He's lost, but that doesn't mean he's crap. Like, that doesn't diminish the fact that he's good. I mean, you heard about what Froch said about sparring him, throwing like, I don't know how he said, throwing like thousands of punches every round. Yeah, he does that because he's got a good engine, hasn't he? He can do that. And people saying he's trash, he's arrogant. and he wishes he was his dad, I think, but he's not trash. He's definitely not trash. And let's be honest, if his dad had fought him in his prime, he would have took him out, wouldn't he? Because his dad had that sort of that tactical know-how. He knew how to push people. He knew, and he had that drive as well. Like when he got knocked down against Calzaghe, and he got back up. In any interview you see with him, he's always like, "Yeah, you know, that's when I knew that this was a real fight, and but I wasn't going to go down like that. I'm gonna stay and fight through it." I think now Eubank Jr. has got some of that, I think, but it's like Tyrone Booth always says. He's got nothing else to do. Like, he hasn't lived a life really. All he's got to do is get up and train, watch his nutrition, train, sleep, drive a Ferrari or whatever the hell he drives. Do you know what I mean? He's got nothing. He's got no real life experience. So in some ways you would expect him to do really well, but in other ways he's been sheltered. So you can't really expect him to have that sort of from the streets grit that you see in a lot of people who do ultra well out of boxing. That's the thing. But anyway, let's get back to and actually, what else is going on? Billy Joe Saunders has been complaining about the judges and a few other things with his upcoming fight with Canelo Alvarez. It's from the report I read, so I was kind of on his side at first, and I was thinking, well, that sounds shady, doesn't it? They've gypped him there. They promised him one thing, and now they're not delivering, but he's expected to just get on with it. But from what Eddie Hearn said in a report I read yesterday, I think, was that it was never in the contract that there would be a judge from the nations stated. So that was they wanted a judge from Mexico, one from the UK, and one from the United States. But apparently, according to Eddie Hearn, that was never part of the contract that Billy Joe signed. So unless he didn't read the contract, then that was part of the initial agreement they had. But that agreement did not make it into the written contract. So I'm sure his legal team, you know what I mean? He's got a lot of money. He's got a proper legal team. He's got real representation. I'm sure they read that. I'm sure his dad, who's been kicking up a stink as well, read that. Or if he didn't, then they need to be complaining to their teams. Yeah, they need to be complaining to Billy Joe Saunders' team about that. Not going in public and talking to IFL or whoever it was and complaining there. I don't really understand if it's a real complaint or if it's part of some sort of mind games or something. I don't know. Either way, I think it's unsuccessful. I don't understand what he's getting at. So, read your contract, mate. Don't sign stuff that you don't want to sign, and hopefully it's not a way for him to say, "Oh, I knew it was rigged." You know, as soon as they pulled out, as soon as they took away the English judge, I knew it was rigged. And it doesn't make any difference anyway. Did you see? It was the English judge or the British judge, I don't know if he was from England, but he was from Britain, in the first Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight, who scored that shockingly. That was an atrocious scorecard. So just because somebody comes from the same country as you doesn't mean they're going to score you favourably. Does it? I don't think it does. If anything, they might score you harsher so that they don't appear to have scored you more favourably. Anyway, Journeyman Chisora versus Joseph Parker. The last stand, I think, for both of them. If either of them lose, they're down to boxing bums. They don't deserve pay-per-view. Definitely not. They need to beat somebody really good. And even beating each other, I don't think it qualifies as really good. I think if Chisora wins, he's lucky. If Parker wins, he's just beaten another journeyman. That's how I see it. How do you see it? Let me know in the comments. Catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.